there's no more shocking headlines. I mean, I wake up this morning and I see that Biden is going to actually give the Medal of Freedom to some of the worst parasitic, vile pariahs, parasites ever known to man. You can't even call them people. They're parasites. George Soros? Hillary Rodham Clinton? Are you kidding me right now? Well, that's exactly what happened today. I mean, he might as well be giving a medal to Adolf Hitler. These are people who have literally caused so much pain, agony, caused so many American lives, caused bedlam and mayhem across the entire globe. This is a president who is literally the worst president in the history of America. He is burning the house down upon leaving. It just gets worse and worse. He picked the worst vice president of all time, and now he does this. So I'm going to show a few clips and talk a little bit about it. There's some things I noticed that I don't think anybody else noticed. Even Bono. I mean, Bono? Radical, woke, leftist Bono gets a Medal of Freedom. Plus, President Trump responds viscerally to fake Don Juan Merchan's ruling that he is going to be sentencing President Trump on January 10th. If you missed that, I talked about this yesterday. Judge fake Don Juan Merchan and Alvin Do Nothing Bragg, the fake sham hush money trial that they, braggadociously got their 34 convicted felon. They just wanted that talking point. That's all they want. Issued a ruling that the sentencing is going to go forward, and he denied the motion by the defense team to dismiss the entire case. And Trump just goes off, and it's brilliant, and I'm going to share it. But first, check this out. So one of the guys that Biden actually awarded a medal, I mean, some of these people were ridiculous. Also, I forgot to mention this. If you look right there in the bottom left hand of your screen, that's one of the Kennedys. I forget her name. She was accepting a Medal of Freedom on behalf of her father, Robert Kennedy, Robert F. Kennedy Sr. Okay, so Robert F. Kennedy, why in the world, my question is, why in the world wasn't somebody who's actually done something for our country, somebody who's actually going to be leading up a new revolutionary health campaign in America as the director of the National Health Institute? Why isn't Robert F. Kennedy Jr. there? Let me know in the comments what you think of that. I mean, this whole presentation, this whole event was an absolute farce, and it was a slap in the face to every American. But this guy right here that President Biden is giving a medal to is Chef Andreas. And if you don't know who that is, I have no idea who it is too. But I did find this. I did some digging. This guy actually was caught in a photo with, guess who? Oh, does anybody know who that is? That right there is Ryan Rout. He is the second assassination attempt perpetrator who was hanging out at Trump's golf course, a complete radical. The same guy who trained or visited, I don't know if he trained, he probably visited Fort Bragg over 100 times. There's all sorts of weird links between this Livensberger guy and the Jabbar guy with the New Orleans attack and the Trump Cybertruck explosion attack. But this is odd, isn't it? Why is he, looks like he's taking a pretty, and they got all these stupid Ukrainian flags in the background. I mean, this is just, it just gets worse and worse with this administration, the darkest 4 years of our entire glorious republic. Let me know what you think in the comments. Now, I posted this on X. Here's the moment that Hillary got up, crooked Hillary. But right before this announcement that I don't know if they go in alphabetical order, I have no idea. There was a scientist, not Bill Nye, the fake climate, advocate and vax perpetrator and pusher. But there was another scientist, I forget who it was, but literally there was no applause, barely any applause, just a hum. Watch what happens when they announce this absolute train wreck, crooked Hillary. Listen to this.
Hillary Rodham Clinton.
Everybody stands up. Look at this. Everybody stands up. It's a joke. Look at this, standing ovation. Disgusting. Absurd. Look at the Kennedy right next to her, who supported Kamala, who did an advertisement with her entire atrocious family.
The Presidential Medal of Freedom is awarded to Hillary Rodham Clinton. Hillary Rodham Clinton is guided by the Methodist Creed, do all the good you can, in all the ways you can. As a lawyer, she defended the rights of children. As First Lady, she fought for universal health care and declared women's rights are human rights. As Senator, she helped New York rebuild after September 11, 2001. As Secretary of State, she championed democracy worldwide, and her nomination for president broke barriers and inspired generations. Through it all,
broke barriers and inspired generations. Look at Biden's face, by the way. That is the face of not somebody who is excited, passionate, eager to give this atrocious vermin an award. That is the face of deference. That is the face of obedience, of subservience. Or you could just say, well, he's a vegetable. I call him the vegetable in chief. Maybe he's just, I don't know, he's having a bowel movement as we speak. I have no idea.
Her career has been dedicated to an eternal truth. America's ideals are sacred, and we must always defend and live by them.
Yeah, as long as they serve her. Yeah, as long as they serve her. This is the same cretin. This is the same lunkhead who went on station after station, all the woke propagandist media networks, CNN, et cetera, lying about President Trump, saying we have to, even after this is such a vile human being, a slap in the face to Americans. This is the same person right after this man's life was in jeopardy. He had 2 assassination attempts, and the president himself saying we need to lower the temperature. She goes out on a media tirade, essentially cranking up the levers of vitriol, hate, and violent rhetoric, saying we need to even come down harder. She is despicable. I hope that thing burns around your neck. I hope it chokes you. By the way, she looks like she lost a lot of weight, like fast. Is it just me? She looks like she lost a lot of weight fast, suddenly in the last like 30, 60 days. Ozempic? Or is it just me? I don't know. Let me know in the comments.
Accepting on behalf of George Soros is Alex Soros.
Look at him smile at his master. I mean, if there's anybody who is the absolute personification of sewer rat, it is Alex Soros and his father. 2 of a kind, parasitic, complete abominations, sewer rats. I mean, the look on this guy's face.
The Presidential Medal of Freedom is awarded to George Soros.
What kind of look is that? What kind of look is that? Look at that look right there. Born into a Jewish family and from Hungary. This guy has done so much damage to our country. And by the way, remember, Soros, or the Soros cabal, if you will, in cahoots with Biden, in cahoots with Obama, in cahoots with Holly Weirdo pedophiles, bought 200 radio stations recently, and the FCC didn't even raise a hair. They're in charge of backing and funding all of the BLM woke ideology, district attorneys like Alvin Bragg, like George Gascon, et cetera, et cetera. These are lawmakers, or you could say anti-lawmakers, who have literally created bedlam and created upheaval, created skyrocketing levels of crime, skyrocketing levels of illegal criminal migrants, skyrocketing levels of homelessness, decay, our beautiful, glorious cities. San Francisco is an absolute dystopia. It's a shadow of itself. Los Angeles, you can't go anywhere. I don't even care if you live on the west side. Santa Monica, you can't go anywhere. I mean, Ben Shapiro recently was in Santa Monica, which is considered, 3rd Street Promenade, considered one of the nicest areas in California, used to be, and it literally was robbed right after going to a restaurant. These people have destroyed this country So what does Biden do? Gives him a medal.
Born into a Jewish family in Hungary, George Soros escaped Nazi occupation to build a life of freedom for himself.
Weird facial
and countless
expressions.
others around the world.
Those are just, I mean, you could say, Nez, you're overlooking it. You're looking way too into it. It's a huge event. There's a lot of people there. There's cameras. No. This dude is used to this kind of stuff. This guy owns Biden. This guy owns Clinton. This guy owns Obama. It's just weird. You could almost smell the guilt seething off of him. Boy, is he a sewer rat.
Educated in England, he settled in America as he became an investor and philanthropist.
Yeah, investor and philanthropist, investing in the demise of America.
Supporting key pillars of open societies, rights and justice, equity and equality.
Yeah, equity and equality. There you go. DEI woke ideologies, the same discriminatory, racist, slanderous, parasitic ideas that have cancerously infected not only our republic, but the entire globe. Look what's happening in the UK. How many UK viewers do we have out there? Let me know in the comments. This is the guy. This is the guy and his ideologies, his mentality, his philosophy that has infected your beautiful island of England, where Winston Churchill defiantly stood up against tyranny. If he hadn't have done that, you guys had your former prime minister, I forget who it was, who tried to make a deal with Hitler, and it was awful. And he was such a weasel himself, a total pansy. This is what your grandfathers, your grandmothers, this is what your ancestors, this is what your forebears fought for, to see the UK literally fall. Now they're going after you guys for just posting a meme, for crying out loud, on social media. Look what's happening in Germany. Look what's happening in France. And these are Soros-backed, Soros-adopted political ideologies and systems and processes.
Freedom now and in the future. His inspiring generosity reminds us all of our capacity and our obligation to stand up to the abuse of power and to be guardians of democracy and all people yearning to be free.
Ridiculous. Spit on you. Shame on you. Shame on you. Look at that weasel. Look at that sewer. There were a few people that I felt did deserve it. I mean, Magic Johnson was a childhood hero of mine, but his support of Kamala, his mindless, inept, overt dismissal of the people, it just breaks my heart, because I love Magic. I love his smile. I've always loved his energy. I've always loved his basketball was super inspiring to me. I think he brought basketball into the forefront with Larry Bird and a couple others, but it just breaks my heart. I do think, despite all my feelings and his idiocy, because I really think he was just paid off, just like Beyonce and Eminem, et cetera, even though I lost all respect for them. People like De Niro are really different, because De Niro actually proactively went out there when he didn't need to. Holding events and holding press conferences, and his hate was more proactive. So I love Magic. I love his basketball. Let me know how you think about that. Michael J. Fox, probably the only guy other than Michael J. Fox that I felt deserved it was maybe Denzel Washington, because I think he's a great actor. But I don't know. I don't know. And I do love how Denzel has kind of got really focused on God lately. I think just recently he became a Baptist minister. And so I think that's kind of interesting to see him dive deep into God, because I've been lately diving a lot deeper. I've always believed in God. I'm not religious, but I've always believed in God. I've always been a man of faith. I've always had a personal relationship with God. And I know in my heart my prayers have been answered, and some of my prayers have not been answered for good reason. I needed to go through certain things. But I think I think there's something, just last thing I want to say about this. I think there's something really cool what's happening, not just here in America, but maybe wider spread across further regions in the world. There is seemingly this return to faith, and there's this revival of God. I mean, of belief in God, because statistics have shown that faith and even talking about God, 10, 15, 20 years ago was on the lowest ever it's been. I think that's changing. I feel it. I see the research supports it. The data supports it. And I think it's a beautiful thing. God bless. So Trump had more than a few responses to fake Don Juan Mershon. Trump says Mershon took the Bragg hoax that, according to all legal scholars, should have been dead on arrival, and through his fraud and misconduct gave it a semblance of life, while deranged Jack Smith was sent packing back to The Hague after losing all of his politically manufactured cases against me. Mershon, who is far worse and even more corrupt than Smith in his fight for my hopeless political opponents, just cannot let go of this charade. Is it because of his conflicts and relations that he keeps breaking the law? This has to stop. It is time to end the lawfare once and for all so we can come together as one nation and make America great again. He goes on to say, every legal scholar and pundit, including the highly respected, sadly recently passed David Rifkin, as well as Jonathan Turley, Dershowitz, to name a few, have unequivocally stated that the Manhattan DA's witch hunt is a non-existent case, which is absolutely true. It is. I mean, it's just like what happened with the Letitia Big Shame James real estate falsifying business records, which is absolutely, completely ridiculous when you've got all sides saying, even the bank and the lender saying, we want to, not only did he pay us back, he paid us back with interest and we want to work with him again. It's ridiculous. Which not only barred by statute of limitations, but on the merits should never have been brought. This illegitimate political attack is nothing but a rigged charade. Acting Justice Mershon, who is I thought he was on a gag order, is a radical partisan, just issued another order that is knowingly unlawful, goes against our Constitution, and if allowed to stand, would be the end of the presidency as we know it. Mershon has so little respect for the Constitution that he's keeping in place an illegal gag order. Oh, so he is. Your president and president-elect, just so I cannot expose his and his family's disqualifying and illegal conflicts. But you just did, didn't you? I love this guy. I just did, but it doesn't matter because I'm the president and I watch Professor Nez because, quite frankly, probably he's the greatest of all time. Thank you, Mr. President. I love you. I am the only political opponent in American history not allowed to defend myself. A despicable First Amendment violation. 100%. But wait, there's more. So he says, I never falsified business records. It is a fake, made-up charge by a corrupt judge who is just doing the work of the Biden-Harris Injustice Department. Yeah, an attack on their political opponent, me. He created a case where there was none, keeps a gag order on me so that I can't talk about how crooked he is. The fake news knows all about it, but they refuse to talk. He may be the most conflicted judge in New York State history. That's a fact. He's absolutely right. The accountant testified with total corroboration that the records were perfect and totally above board. A legal expense was called on the books. A legal expense. There was nothing else it could have been called. This was the so-called falsifying of records. I was hiding nothing. Everything was out in the open for all to see. Every legal scholar of note said there is no case against me, capital letters. The judge should be disbarred, 100%. This is why people and companies are fleeing New York, a corrupt court system. Not only that, but the subway and the crime is out of control. In another crooked New York case, another corrupt judge overturned 5 times on my case alone, and the most overturned judge in New York valued Mar-a-Lago at $18 million, what is worth 50 to 100 times. That's true. And then we have also in New York, the woman I never met, celebrity photo lines from 30 years ago don't count, who was awarded almost $100 million. A totally out of control Trump-hating judge presided. The Biden-Harris DOJ was involved directly or indirectly in each of these cases. I won against deranged Jack Smith. And last but not least, his very last post on this, there has never been a president who is so evilly and illegally treated as I. Corrupt Democrat judges and prosecutors have gone against a political opponent of a president, me, at levels of injustice never seen before. Corrupt judges or judges so blinded by their hatred of me and my political ideology to make America great again are making a mockery of the United States judicial system. And the world is watching in disgust. Deranged Jack Smith, the evil and sinister prosecutor appointed by Crooked Joe Biden to take me down, was found to be illegally appointed by a corrupt DOJ and FBI, and all of his many charges against me were dropped or dismissed. His illegal raid of my home, Mar-a-Lago, will go down as one of the, quote, dirtiest tricks, end quote, ever perpetrated by one candidate. A dumb as a rock, sleepy Joe Biden on another. With all of this said, I still have confidence that the appellate courts will bring justice to America. By the way, further evidence that this entire debacle, Judge Fake Don Juan Merchan, as well as all the other federal indictments, do I even need to mention Cash Money G. Willis? Definitely not. Further evidence that this was all just a complete sham, all just intended to stop him, to be an obstacle to him, to defame him, etc., etc. He said there's going to be, who does that in a ruling? He says there's definitely not going to be any jail time. So we will not rule any jail time in our sentencing, but he will be sentenced so they can have the moniker convicted felon. And you can just hear Pelosi and Chuck the Buck Schumer, all of these degenerates, these lunkheads, these hypocrites, these anti-American scum. You can just hear them. They're going to call him convicted. He's a convicted felon. When you go to your Thanksgiving and you go to your Easter holiday, etc., any gathering, Sunday dinner, all your liberal, libtard neighbors, friends, etc. How can you support a convicted felon? How can you support a convicted felon? It's the only reason. It's the only reason any of this is taking place. It's an absolute sham. It's an absolute farce. And when he takes over, which is coming up very soon, all of this stuff is going to end. Hallelujah. Thank God. Amen. Give me an amen in the comments down below. I can't wait to hear what your thoughts are on all of this. Let me know. Don't forget to check out these videos coming up on the screen right here. In case you missed it, you got to check that one out. Tap my face right there to subscribe and follow. It's absolutely free. Sign up for our free newsletter. That's in the comments down below. And as always, God bless you and God bless the USA. I'll see you soon.